If you got offered $1 million to on the spot start talking about a certain topic with no breaks for 30 minutes.
One of the really interesting things about having mechanical keyboards as a hobby is it doesn't actually make any sense. It's a keyboard, you type into your computer with it. How could that be a hobby? Well, it all starts when you try your first mechanical keyboard at a friend's house and you realize it's so much better than the one you have at home. You buy your first mechanical keyboard on Amazon and that's great for a few days. And then you realize that there's different keyboard layouts that are more efficient and look better on your desk, like the 70% one, so you buy one of those. And then you realize that there's different types of mechanical switches and they all feel so different. There's a bunch of different manufacturers, so you have to buy a bunch to figure out which ones you like best. Then you realize that if you want to use your own switches, you're gonna have to build your own keyboard from scratch, so you build a 60% keyboard because that's what's mostly available and there's a lot of parts for them. And then you're happy for like 2 hours tops, and then you read about modding your keyboard and you realize it can be so much better than it is right now. Then after modifying your keyboard, you realize that you have to lubricate your switches to get the best performance out of them, and you spend like 10 hours lubricating each individual switch. And then you realize if you're going to be putting this much time into a stupid keyboard, you might as well build something that's an absolute perfect keyboard for you. And then you realize if you want something that's absolutely perfect, you're going to have to build and design it yourself. And then you realize you're going to have to buy a bunch of custom tools like a CNC machine and learn how to use CAD. Then you have to design your own keyboard from the ground up and learn to hand wire and program all the software yourself. And then you realize there's a whole community of people that are doing these custom builds so much better than you, so you join a group buy for $1,200 where you won't get your keyboard for another 3 years, but that's okay. And then by the time that new keyboard arrives, you've started another build and you now have 12,000 keyboard switches. And now you realize you're not even stealing the service and the hobby goes so much deeper, you're $50,000 in debt and all you have is a little few click-clacky keyboards and you wouldn't have it any other way.
Light work, no reaction. Light work, no reaction.
Ooh. Okay, it's got a little kick. Oh.
Here's a little fun fact that you probably don't know. So I used to work at Best Buy. I loved it. It was honestly my dream job. I just got to talk about tech all day, which I guess I still kind of do. Anyway, in a really neat turn of events, we've come full circle and Best Buy reached out over email asking to sponsor a video. And of course I said yes. So I worked with them to find a product that I genuinely want to show you guys and recommend. And I settled on this. This is the Amazon Fire Max 11. I chose this because it's a super budget friendly option that has a whole bunch of flexibility in how you could use it. Specifically students going back to school, this is an amazing alternative to a laptop at an absolute fraction of the price. Before I go into all the details of what makes this thing so great, let me get into character first for the sake of nostalgia. This is the Fire Max 11. On its own, it's a pretty amazing tablet. It has an 11-inch 2K screen, which is absolutely gorgeous. It's got a really gorgeous build. It's got a great camera, a fingerprint reader, USB-C, and a 12-hour battery life. It also has an octa-core processor and 4 gigs of RAM. At this price point for these specs, this tablet alone is amazing value, but that's not why I recommend this thing so strongly. Now, where this thing really shines are the 2 affordable accessories you can get for this thing that turns it into a pretty much different class of device. First one being the super sleek keyboard case that just magnets on the bottom here. Once you've added this case, not only do you get a seamless typing experience, but it also adds a trackpad. This combined with Amazon's Tablet OS effectively gives you an experience very, very similar to a laptop. The keyboard includes this back piece to complete the case. It attaches via magnets, which makes for a super sleek look, and crucially it acts as a stand for when you're typing. This thing is great. Once you have this thing all bundled up in the case, not only does it look super sleek, but it can now pretty much handle any school type workload that you'd normally throw at a laptop. Now, the last accessory and the real kicker that sets it apart from other devices is this, the active powered stylus. So this baby is a super affordable accessory and it magnets right on the side here to make a really happy little package. Because the stylus is active and powered and paired directly with the tablet, it makes for a super seamless writing experience. Whether you're writing notes or doing technical drawings, this stylus is an amazing experience that rivals most others on the market. So adding the stylus to the tablet paired with the keyboard gives you a pretty incredible amount of flexibility for under $300. And what I really like about the Fire Max 11 is if you're very budget conscious, you have the ability to cater this device to exactly what you need. If you just want the stylus and you don't need a keyboard, you could do that. If you want to just buy the tablet and maybe later purchase the keyboard and the pen, you can do that. This is something a little bit different than what we normally look at, but I think this is a really great budget option that can cater to a lot of different people. Again, especially students. I really don't think there's a device that could beat the functionality of this all-in-one package for under $300. Anyway, that's the Fire Max 11. Thank you to Best Buy for sponsoring this video and letting me do what I do best. You'll be able to find a link to this bad boy in my bio on bestbuy.com. Thank you for your time. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.